This is Ken Pyle at the Media Innovations 2011 Summit, and we're with Sam Blackman. Sam is a co-founder and CEO of Elemental Technologies. Elemental Technologies making transcoders, and it seems like you guys have hit the market at the right time. You've been around for a few years. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you've gotten to where you are?
You bet. So Elemental has been around for 5 years. We were founded in August of 2006. The company spent the first few years building the core technology. So one thing that's really unique about Elemental is we've actually built all the codecs and image processing technology ourselves from scratch. We own all the IP in the entire software stack. But that takes a long time, especially because we leverage GPUs, graphical processing units, and so we had to write embedded software that runs on the GPU. So the company spent about 3 years building that core video processing technology, and then in 2010 we launched our enterprise product line, Elemental Server for video on demand transcoding, and Elemental Live for live streaming. And from there we've been able to really kind of track the growth of the multi-screen market. We launched Elemental Live literally a month after Apple launched the iPad, and of course the iPad has just driven unbelievable demand for watching video in a new way in a much more personalized environment, and Elemental's products have really kind of tracked the growth of the iPad and its tablet brethren.
In the growth in transcoding a few years ago, I mean, you'd have to worry about encoding for one kind of profile, and that was it. But that's exploded in the last couple of years. Where do you see that kind of going over time?
It's a really interesting question because you have some of the largest companies in the world with very important strategic initiatives around their mobile devices. So I put Apple in that category, Microsoft with Android, or Google with Android, Microsoft with smooth streaming. All these companies really want to identify their products as the best platform for watching professional high-end video, and so they all define different standards for delivering that video. So Elemental builds products that can deliver to all those different types of devices. Now you have some standardization work being done with MPEG-Dash, trying to consolidate all these adaptive bitrate formats into a single standard, but that tends not to benefit a single large player like Google, like Microsoft, like Apple. So our expectation is that you're going to see a lot of competition in these adaptive standards for quite some time, and therefore systems like Elemental Live and Elemental Server will be required to keep up with an expanding number of formats to deliver to these different types of devices.
Well, and with the, you speak of adaptive, and that was first introduced for the unmanaged network, if you will. But now we're getting into the situations where it looks like people are they starting to use them for managed networks as well?
Well, I'd say that actually explicitly using them for managed networks doesn't tend to happen. But what's happening is managed networks are evolving to leverage standards-based IP delivery technology. And as that happens, managed networks tend to move to a more OTT-like distribution mechanism. Therefore, I think you'll see in the next couple of years pretty much all the service providers moving away from specialized managed networks to conventional IP types of delivery networks, and that will require the use of adaptive bitrate and other IP video technologies rather than the legacy systems that have delivered over managed networks for many, many years.
Well, and you have some traditional customers in your mix now, traditional cable customers. Can you talk to those for a moment?
Sure. I think we've seen very good adoption from both cable companies, service providers, as well as programmers that deliver content to those service providers who are building their own over-the-top solutions. So some of our customers include folks like HBO. The whole HBO Go service is powered by Elemental. We just announced yesterday that ESPN.com and all the ESPN mobile apps are powered by Elemental. ABC News, all powered by Elemental. CBS Interactive, GameSpot, all powered by Elemental. I think 3 or 4 of the top selling and top free iPad and iPhone applications are all powered by Elemental, which really speaks to the power of those brands. People want HBO, they want ESPN on whatever platform they happen to be using. So that's been a really good target for us. We've also announced some significant wins with Comcast. If you use Comcast Xfinity TV service, that's all powered by Elemental, all the video you watch on there. Avail TVN, it services many Tier 2, Tier 3 service providers around the country. That's all powered by Elemental. So we've made some great strides and shown some good early traction in the service providers. I think in 2012 we'll be able to talk about many more customers there.
Well, and then so you do see the products actually migrating into the head end as well, back to that whole discussion of managed versus non-managed.
Absolutely. I mean, the service providers are taking products like Elemental Server, Elemental Live, putting them in their head ends, and then using to deliver their content over both managed and unmanaged networks. And I think over time you'll see those networks converge towards the unmanaged side. And that gives them global reach. They can rely on third-party CDNs when they don't have a global footprint or they don't have a certain local footprint. They can use their internal networks when distributing to their local facilities. I think you're going to see that migration grow and grow and grow.
And one of the things, you touched upon this, but the whole idea of using GPUs, graphic processing units, as opposed to, I guess, the alternative, what advantages does that provide?
That's a great question. So traditionally in video processing, you've had two angles of developing a video processing system. You've had either a CPU-based approach, which has benefits around flexibility and ease of upgrade, but it generally has performance problems. You don't get very good 1080p video. You'd have a lot of trouble keeping up with adaptive bitrate because you can only do 1 or 2 streams at a time. So that's one area. Then you have specialized hardware, DSPs from Texas Instruments, specialized ASICs from Ambarella or Magnum. Those are these very specialized, very powerful, high-performance chips, but they're not flexible. It's really hard to adapt to the latest HLS standard from Apple. What Elemental has done by leveraging the GPU is kind of triangulate the best of both worlds. It's a completely software-based solution. We just write standard software that runs on the GPU while leveraging the GPU's massive parallel performance to be able to get many, many streams in a single system. So we get all the kind of performance and quality benefits of specialized hardware while benefiting from all the flexibility of a software-based solution.
So it's kind of an appliance as far as you're concerned, but it's kind of off the shelf that you customize?
We're a pure software company. We don't build any hardware. We sell it as appliance, as a turnkey appliance. We also sell it as a software edition so customers can put it on their own hardware, up to the customer's preference.
So now I guess there's the two aspects of it. There's the actual transcoding where you create the different rates, and then there's the packaging, if you will, that for the various protocols of whatever you're delivering to. Do you see those being in one box, or those get separated over time, or where does that go?
It really depends on the customer. For the programmers, I think, most of the time they want to keep that in a single system, and in Elemental Live, Elemental Server, we include all of that packaging technology as well as all the video processing, encoding, and image processing technology. In the service providers, the larger service providers, we're seeing a preference to separate the packaging from the core encoding. And we are providing a product called Elemental Stream that performs just the packaging functions, as well as our core Elemental Live and Elemental Server for the encoding video processing.
Okay. And one of the things that has impressed me is, looking at your website, some of your board of directors, you've got some real heavyweights behind you. So, kind of where do you see your company going in the future?
Yeah, we've been incredibly fortunate as an early stage company to get some excellent talent on the board. Bruce Chisholm, the former CEO of Adobe Systems, was one of our early board members. Bruce, of course, led Adobe from 2000 to 2008. He led the acquisition of Macromedia, which gave Adobe Flash. He took Adobe's market cap from $1 billion to $20 billion by the time he left. Wow. So that kind of growth would be fantastic at Elemental. We also just added Kevin O'Hara as a board member. Kevin was the co-founder and president of Level 3 Communications, one of the largest communications companies in the world. So having folks like Bruce and Kevin on the board is unbelievable. And then we have some great venture capitalist investors as well. I think Elemental really feels like this market is growing extremely fast, and we feel like we have the best-in-class product in this market today. So when you combine the best product in a very fast-growing market, I think we have a lot of upside, and we're going to take it as far as we possibly can.
Well, Sam, good luck with that, and appreciate your time.
Thanks. You so much.